Hey everyone, and welcome back. Ever find yourself like trying to describe some crazy food you ate as a kid and just drawing a blank?
Oh, yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
what even were those things? Today we're going deep on childhood snacks and all the awesome words that come with them.
We found this really interesting conversation online between a bunch of English learners and teachers, and it's packed with these amazing little stories about all the things they ate growing up.
I love that. So jumping right in, one of the speakers tells this story about making and selling these like handmade books when they were little.
Yeah, it's wild. They were like 6 or 7, gathering up all this stuff and turning it into their own little business.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they use this word ream to describe the huge piles of paper their dad would bring home for making the books.
Like those giant packs of paper you see at that office supply store.
Exactly. 500 sheets is a ream. I'm kind of curious, did you ever have a little side hustle as a kid? What were you into back then?
Oh, man. I was all about making friendship bracelets and selling them to my friends.
That's awesome.
Not quite as literary, I guess, but hey,
Hey, entrepreneurial spirit, all the same.
so true. But okay, so in this conversation, things get a little mysterious. Our speaker starts talking about this guy who just showed up their school fence selling candy.
Oh, wow.
Talk about a total throwback,
Right.
like instant stranger danger vibes.
It's interesting, though, how that image of someone selling treats outside of school is like a thing in so many different places.
Yeah, for sure.
The speaker calls this guy a hawker, which is basically anyone who sells stuff informally, usually out in public, but depending on where you grew up, you might have called them something completely different.
Oh, definitely.
I wonder, did you have street vendors in your neighborhood? What did you call them?
That's such a good point.
It just shows how much variety there is, even within English.
Totally. And it makes you think about how much of what we say comes from like our own experiences and where we're from.
For sure.
But okay, hold on. Because the story takes a bit of a dark turn now. They start talking about this laced candy, and you could probably guess it's not the good kind.
Right. They get into the very real dangers of drugs being disguised as candy, which sadly isn't just some urban legend.
Yeah.
It's heavy stuff. But the speaker uses a word that might be good to know. Drug bust. Which
Yeah.
is basically when the police raid a place to catch criminals, usually folks involved in the drug trade.
Like you see on those cop shows all the time.
Exactly.
They also use the word bogus to describe this fake candy, meaning it's like a knockoff, not the real deal.
Right.
And it's kind of scary to think something as innocent as candy could be used to hide something so dangerous.
Absolutely. It's a huge reminder to be careful, especially for parents. The conversation specifically mentions flakka, which is a drug that's known to make people act super strange and lose sleep.
Wow.
They even say be up for days to describe the effects.
I mean, new parents are up for days, but not by choice.
Huh. So true. But yeah, then they use this phrase, lure younger users, and it just highlights how messed up it is to target kids with these dangerous things disguised as something fun.
It's awful.
It's a serious issue, and these words really help us understand how serious it is. You know, another phrase from this conversation really stuck with me. Be on the lookout.
Mm-hmm.
Like, normally it just means to kind of be aware of something, but in this case, when they're talking about laced candy, it takes on a whole different meaning.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's like a warning for parents and communities to protect kids from this real danger.
It's almost like a secret code, isn't it?
Right.
Saying, hey, there's some shady stuff going on. We got to be extra careful.
Right.
What I find really interesting is how this whole conversation shows just how different things are in other parts of the world.
Totally.
Like in some cultures, having people sell things right outside school is totally normal.
Mm-hmm.
But for a lot of us who grew up with stranger danger, it can seem pretty sketchy.
It's true. It makes you wonder if all those warnings about strangers have made us more cautious or if we've gone too far and become too scared of everyone.
That's a good question.
It's like we want to keep kids safe, but we also don't want them to be afraid of everyone they meet.
Right. It's tricky.
It is tricky, for sure. And it makes you think about how those messages we hear as kids about stranger danger can stick with us even when we're adults. Maybe they even affect how we teach our own kids about safety.
Yeah, maybe.
But going back to what we were talking about before, with all the different names for frozen treats, makes you think about how many other everyday things have totally different names depending on where you are in the English-speaking world.
It's wild how English can be so similar and so different all at the same time.
I know, right? That's part of what makes learning it so awesome, but also pretty hard.
Definitely.
It's constantly changing, mixing words and phrases from everywhere, shaped by geography, history, culture.
For sure.
So if you're out there learning English, don't get discouraged. Every word you pick up, every idiom you figure out, every accent you master, it's all part of this crazy adventure.
Love that.
And remember, the goal isn't to be perfect. It's to just enjoy the ride and discover all the amazing stuff this language has to offer.
That's so important. It's about connecting with people, sharing stories, and learning more about the world.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And hey, sometimes it's as simple as diving into a chat about childhood memories and finding all these cool insights about language and culture.
Exactly.
Right.
Well said. Yeah, it really makes you think, like, do those early warnings about strangers actually make us more careful as adults?
Right?
Or have we, like, swung too far the other way and gotten too scared? And how does that affect how we teach our own kids about safety?
It's a tough one for sure.
Definitely. But going back to what we were talking about before with the different names for frozen treats, it makes you wonder how many other everyday things have, like, totally different names depending on where you are, even within the English-speaking world.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is. And it's part of what makes English so rewarding, but also so tricky.
Totally.
It's like this ever-changing mix of words and phrases from all over the place.
Yeah.
Influenced by geography, history, culture, you name it.
It's amazing. So for everyone out there learning English, keep going.
Yeah, don't give up.
Every new word, every idiom, every accent you pick up, it's all part of this incredible journey.
And remember, it's not about being perfect.
Oh, definitely not.
It's about enjoying the process and discovering all the amazing things this language has to offer.
Exactly. It's about connecting with people, sharing stories, and opening yourself up to new experiences.
Couldn't agree more.
And sometimes it's as simple as taking a deep dive into a conversation about childhood memories and finding all these cool things about language and culture along the way.
That's what we're all about.
So keep those ears open and those minds curious and never stop learning.
We'll see you next time.